MLM is a scam. But how come Amway, the American company, founded in 1959, generated a revenue of $8.6 billion in 2017 and $8.8 billion in 2018. Dangote Group, founded in 1981, the largest conglomerate in West Africa, generated a revenue of $4.1 billion in 2017, which is less than half of Amway's revenue in the same year. Are we not missing something? The problem here is the MLM we see in developed climes, reading books and video and audio programs seem to be inapplicable to us in Nigeria and Africa at large. How come the highest earners with those fat envied checks are never Africans? How come? Do we not work hard enough? What exactly is the problem? I am Sam Egwurube. I'm here to answer these questions and share with you a solution already exploited by some people who are for the first time in Africa experiencing the gains of a proper working MLM. Now, first of all, let's understand something. MLM is a real business and must be subjected to the same test as other traditional business. And basically, globally, it is accepted that businesses run on 3 P's, which are what? The product, the process, and people. Now, let's start with the product. The product has to be innovative in a form. Is it viable? By viability, I'm talking about, is it a need or a want? Is it affordable? Does it have a high turnover? Now, let's compare this with the foreign products that come through the MLM companies. If you look clearly, it is, yes, some of them are quite innovative, no doubt, viable. If you're sincere with yourself, in fact, let me ask you, the companies you signed up before, are you still using those products today? Are you still using the products today? Are there things you can just walk in to a pharmacy or to a store or to anywhere and buy? Do you still buy them currently? If you're not buying them, that means it was clearly not a need, or neither was it a want. It was something else. Now, affordability. One of the reasons most of these companies were not viable is the products may be great, but they are not affordable. They are not affordable. They are outrageously expensive for the average African and for the average Nigerian, because you need to put into consideration our worth, our income generating capacity, our per capita income. How much is an average salary? How much is the salary of an average Nigerian in comparison to the products that most MLM companies bring them here? So because the products may be great but they are not affordable, that means you cannot sell them regularly. And MLM depends on reorders. That is the truth. MLM should depend on the real value, reordering the product, not recruiting people. MLM is not about recruiting people. It should be about what? Reordering. People just consuming the products that was introduced to them and they keep consuming. That is what we're talking about, turnover. They buy it, they use it, they buy it again, and they buy it again, and they buy it again, and they keep buying it. But if it is not affordable, they may try it and they will never buy it again. So what did leaders here do? Obviously, they know that the product does not check all these boxes, so they had to all go through another route, which is what? Selling you the dream, selling you the vision, selling you all those things that are not sustainable. Why? Because there is no intrinsic value. There is no product for you to for the system to keep working. So what became the product? Headcount, recruiting people. The people that join became the product, which is why it is not sustainable. Because why? You need to keep recruiting people forever. You need to keep recruiting new people, and sooner or later it saturates. But in a proper system, the product should be introduced to a few set of persons, and those people like the product, they buy it, they go home, try it, and they keep reordering. They make it part of their family consumption. And if they can afford it, if it can compare with other products in the market, obviously they will stick to it and keep buying it. So you keep having return purchase from a small group of persons. That is where the real money comes from in the MLM program. The next P, which is the process. We talk about the system, the structures, the environment, and the R&D. Now the systems, most of them have good systems running, which is of course the supply network and all of that, the inventory control and all the whole network and logistics that leads to you getting the product, and of course the payment system. That is this. Now everything is done software wise. You can log in and check your details, and some of them are not decentralized, which means you have to keep going to their central point to buy product or to pick product or to sign up someone. But mostly these days, all of these are automated, so you can do them at your own time, at your own location. That is where we are talking about system. There are structures, like I said. For structures, they could have different form of structures, like the presentation venues, the whole compensation structure and all of that, the compensation plan. And if you look clearly, you could see that because the products were not designed, the product and the compensation plan of these foreign companies are not designed with the African man in mind. That's the reality. They're not designed with the real economic realities of Africa as a whole, let alone Nigeria. So that means that we are already disadvantaged from the beginning. The business, you must consider business environment. What is the per capita income of the people? Who are your target markets and all of that? Many of us here jumped on companies where the products, we cannot even afford the products. And secondly, our network, the people around us, that which is why it is called network marketing, cannot afford those products. And that is already putting you at a disadvantaged position. You cannot keep up. Why? Because you cannot afford the product. Your network cannot afford the product. So if you do a headhunting game, you have to keep looking for new people. Whereas if you could afford the product, you would use it. Your network, your immediate network can afford the product. They would buy from you, and a few of them will become your business partner. That is how the structure should be. So business environment is very important. And then of course the R&D, which is the research and the development, bringing in new products and several other things. That is a check for most companies in terms of process. And then you go to the last P, which is what? The people. The people, the leadership may be right. For some companies, the leadership are right. Does it not still amaze you with all the leadership, the motivation and all the efforts they put in? The system does not really still pay as it should pay. Why? Because of the fundamental thing. The real tangible exchange of value does not exist, which is what? The product is not viable. The product, I keep emphasizing, the product is not viable. Look at other traditional businesses. Why are they still alive today? Why are they still making money after money? It is because what people are buying and keep buying, people keep buying their products without any form of compensation. And of course, like I earlier mentioned, the prospect is part of the people, the prospect, the people around your neighborhood. Can they afford the product? Can they afford to sign up? Do they also have people in their own network that can afford the product and can sign up? That is another thing to consider. And then the team at large, can the team come together? You see, what is the probability of building a large team when many people cannot afford it, when many people cannot afford the product? It's not viable. So with that, building a team, you have a lot of attrition because people are tired of headhunting others. And then, of course, the staff of the company and other partners of the company, that's what makes up the product. So if you look closely, there are basically a few points that have been highlighted here. The points include the fact that obviously it is clear that the foreign MLM companies that made entrance into Africa and Nigeria in particular didn't really design their products or compensation plan with Africa in mind. But let me introduce you to a truly African company that has developed its products and compensation plan with total consideration to the socio-economic realities of Nigeria and of course indeed Africa as a whole. AfriLife. AfriLife, which is short for what? African Life, is a company that began full operations in January 2018 after completing NAFDAC registration for its pilot product